Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about entity relationship model, how to construct ER diagram, and what are all the relationship in that. So we are going to discuss one by one. Entity relationship model, uh, how to represent entity, and then how to represent relationship between the entity. First thing we already discussed, entity means any object in the real time. It's called as an entity. To describe about that entity, it is called as a attribute, or otherwise the properties of that entity. For example, if you are taking the university, student is entity, faculty is entity, department is entity. To describing about the student, student name, registration number, and then department, etc. So these are the things called as the attribute. So similarly for the department id, department name, locations, description about the department is called as the attributes. So this is a simple AR diagram. Faculty is represented by the rectangular boxes, that is the entities represented by the rectangles. Generally the attributes are described through the oval shapes, and relationships are mentioned by the diamond symbol. Normalization we will be applied to remove the redundancy about the information. It is the most used design for the good data set without making the redundant information, and most common approach to use the functional dependencies. So how each and every thing is dependent on each other. Entity relationship, we already discussed three important component: entity set, relationship set, and then attributes. Relationship, it's association among the several entities. So how it is mentioned, that is how it is related with one another. So faculties work for the department, so the work for is a relation. Entity set means it's a set of all entities belongs to the similar type. Relationship set, it's all the relationships of the same type. So those things is called as a entity set and then relationship set. So entity set here, if you are just taking the university, faculty, student, these are all the entities. They may have the common type of the attribute id, name, address, date of birth, etc. So that we can maintain this as a person entity. So under the person entity, faculty will come, student will come. These are all comes under the same category. So it is called as an entity set. So each and every entity we can able to describe through the attributes. So that attributes having the values of that. So that values are mentioned, each and every attributes having the separate values that is going to be maintained under the entity set. So the entity set, faculty entity set, the faculty ID and then faculty name will be the values of the faculty ID and then faculty name. So similarly the student, we can maintain the student ID and then student. So this is called as the same kind of the information. So it is called as one of the entity set. Similarly for the relationship set also. So the relations association among the several entities. So same type of the relations we can maintain as a relationship set. So here the faculty and then student relationship. So the Ram is having the faculty relationship between the Ram is the faculty and he is faculty for these two students, Abhinav and then Shiva. So similarly, there's how many students are assigned to the each and every faculty. It may be a single or many or whatever. So one to one or one to many. So under the relationship types, we will be studying in detail. So the relationship may also have some attributes that is called as a descriptive attributes. If we can say sometimes we need a value for the relations. So if I'm just saying the faculty and then department relation, it's joining. So from which date onwards the particular faculty it works under the department. So we need that information that is called as a descriptive attribute. And similarly the student and then faculty, if we are taking from which date onwards the faculty will act as a counselor for the particular student. So that needs some information for us. So the some information is need for the relationships too. So that is called as a descriptive attributes. So here the relationship, it's a counselor. The faculty act as a counselor for these two students. From which date onwards he will be acting as a counselor. That will not a common for all the entities. That it may be differ. So that is called as a descriptive attributes. Binary relationship set. So one entity is involved in the two entities set. It's called as a binary relationship. And then faculty and then student entity sets participated in a relationship set that is act as a counselor. In addition to the each student must have the another faculty its work for the department. So similarly, so they have the two different things. So attributes, so sometimes it may be in a different types based on their values and then types. So all the attributes are not having the same kind of the informations. So they having the different types of attributes. So based on the nature of that is two different types, simple attribute and then complex attribute. So the value cannot be divided into the subparts, that is called as a simple attribute. So faculty salary, faculty ID. So these are all, it's a single value, we can't able to further divide it. Composite attribute, it's we can able to do the further division. Faculty name and then address. So faculty name, how we can able to divide it as a further means first name, last name, middle name, like that. So similarly the address, if we are taking door number, street, city and state, country, like that. If we are can able to divide means it's a composite, can't able to divide means it is a simple attribute. So similarly based on the value of the attributes we can able to divide the four types: single value, multiple value, derived value and then null value. Single value means it is a mandatory that kind of the attribute will have only one, not more than that. That is single value attribute. So example, each and every person may have the ID is a single, date of birth is a single. Multiple value, so the person may have the more than one value. So similarly the mail ID, phone number, it's not a restriction, each and every person maintain of one. So that may have the more than one, that is a multi-value. Derived value means, so we can get the input from the another attribute. For example, age, if you know the date of birth you can able to find the age. So age is the derived attribute from the date of birth. Similarly, if you know the marks of the student, you can able to calculate the average percentage. So average percentage is the derived attribute from the marks. So like that we can able to get the value from the another existing attribute. So that kind of the attributes called as derived attributes. Null values, so sometimes we can't able to give the all the information, sometimes it may accept the null. So that kind of the attributes called null attributes. Constraints, so when we are just going to mapping, so some mapping constraint is there and then participation constraints. Mapping constraints, we are having the four mapping cardinalities: one to many, one to one, one to many, many to one and many to many. So when we are just dealing with one person with one, that is called as one-to-one. For example, here each and every programmer is assigned to only one project. So that is one. If you are just taking the faculty and student relationship, for one student, one faculty is assigned. So that is one-to-one. One-to-many, one programmer may involve under the many projects. That is one-to-many. If you are similarly taking the faculty and student, one faculty will assign as 60 students, 20 students, n number of the students. That is one-to-many. Many-to-one, many programmers may involve under the one project. It's like as a group project. So now students are going to be joining, the 4 students will involve under the one project, right? So that is called as many-to-one. Similarly, many-to-many. The many students can involve under the one project as well as more than one projects. One project may have the many programmers. So both it is possible. That is called as a many-to-many mapping coordinates. When we are just coming to the participation constraints, the total participation and then partial participation. Total participation in the sense from the entity set, entire the entity is involving the another entity, that is a total participation. Partial means it's not a compulsion. Some entities only it is involving the relationship with the another entity set. So some other it not involved. So when we are just seeing this example, the figure A, entity set from the programmer, 4 programmers are available, 3 project is there. Out of 4, only the 3 programmers involved under the projects, 1 is left. Second figure, all the 3 programs are involved under the all the projects. Even not even the projects are no left, and then similarly there is a programmers also, there is no programmers is left. So here entire the sets are involved under the relationship. So now we can see the difference. The figure A, it is a partial participation constraints, and then figure B is the total participation constraint. So this is the thing. In this session we discussed about what are all the how we can construct the ER diagram and what are all the relationships are involved under the ER diagram. Thank you.